We are not going to let that happen. We are not going to be distracted until the last man standing concerning your death has been punished. Hi, sir, to you all viewers of Equinoxe, 6 p.m. by our studio clock. We thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news. Right away, we begin with our major stories. Several bigwigs of the Social Democratic Front, the SDF, a one-time main opposition party in Cameroon, have been dismissed from the party. Their dismissal was made public during the National Executive Committee of the SDF, which took place in Yaoundé over the weekend and confirmed in an official communique published today. And what actually transpired between the now two factions of the SDF, we'll tell you more in this edition of the news. And also we'll be taking you to the neighboring Federal Republic of Nigeria to give you updates on the presidential election. Our reporters or our special envoys are on standby. We'll be telling you more, so stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. We thank you so much for joining us, for being with us on this edition of the news. We begin this edition in politics. The final NEC resolution has confirmed the exclusion of some 33 militants from the Social Democratic Front, the SDF party, which was a one-time main opposition party in Cameroon, accused of falling under the application of Section 8.2 of the SDF Constitution. The firebrands and top-ranking militants are all signatories of 4 court cases filed against the SDF National Chairman, Nigerian, and the SDF Secretary General. Let's now have more with of what has been happening in the SDF party for me, Armstrong Sander.
The famous Section 8.2 of the Social Democratic Front Party Constitution outlines the other set of circumstances under which membership of the party shall be lost. It says membership of the SDF party shall be lost by resignation, that is to say, withdrawal from the party or belonging to another party, and or engaging in political and such other activities which are likely to injure the reputation, the interest, and or otherwise discredit the party and or its effectiveness. This is the portion of the SDF party constitution that was used by the National Executive Committee over the weekend to slam 33 of its members. Predominantly high-ranking and firebrand militants, the 33, according to the Social Democratic Front, fell into the dragnet of Section 8.2 as outlined above. The 33 are signatories to the 4 court cases brought against the national chairman, the Secretary General, and the SDF party, a case which is expected at the Fundi High Court in Yaoundé in the days ahead. The 33, which are all members of the G27 Plus and signatories to the Buddha Declaration, accused Nigerian and Co. of violating the SDF party statutes, the party's manifesto, and the constitution. The National Executive Committee's decision, however, does not stop the court case, which has already been opened for hearing in Yaoundé, according to legal minds. Some political observers have gone further to outline the original argument of the G27 Plus, which says that the mandate of the current National Executive Committee, the NEC, expired since February 18, 2023. A point which opens another angle to debate on the eligibility of the committee and the legal standing of the weekend decision in Yaoundé. Another reading says all is not lost for the 33 slammed by Section 8.2 of the SDF party constitution, going by the stipulations of Section 16C of the same party constitution.
And over to something else. A day after several persons were injured by a locally made bomb in Boya during the mountain race, security is now very tight in the Southwest Regional Headquarters. Several detachments of security forces were deployed to oversee the peaceful organization of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope that took place over the weekend. And during this year's edition, a special detachment of the military security CMIL from Yaoundé was deployed to Boya for the event. And unfortunately, somehow many people were still injured, like I indicated earlier ago, in a bomb blast which happened somewhere around Bonduma in Buea. Smart Njikan Gabriel comes back to this story.
Despite the deployment of security forces to maintain peace before, during and after the mountain race in Buea over the weekend, 2 explosions, one at Bondoma Gate and the other at Biaka Junction, led to 19 people being injured. The organizers of the 28th edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope had reinforced security with the elements of the military security from Yaoundé, known in its French acronym as SEMIL, being part of the event. These security elements, who were all lined up along the race course, were armed to the fullest, giving no chances for any disorder from anyone. Apart from those who were positioned on the ground, the military helicopter was also brought to support those on the ground as it turned around the race course alongside a military drone.
And just to let you know that over 20 people who were injured in that locally bomb blast have already been discharged from the Buea Regional Hospital. And 4 out of 10 suspected armed robbers have been arrested by territorial gendarmerie in Bunateki, a neighborhood in the Douala 1 municipality. They are accused of breaking into a wine shop and doing away with valuable items, as Mala Glory tells us in the report, which comes up next.
Group of 10 armed robbers, all involved in burglary, with automatic guns and weapons used in threatening their victims. In one of their operations in the Bunateki neighborhood, Douala 1 municipality, 4 of them were arrested by the territorial gendarmes. They were caught as they broke into a wine shop belonging to a businesswoman, Madame Mengi. In the time of their arrest, the suspects were in the possession of expensive wines and other valuable items stolen from the shop. This was thanks to an operation launched by the gendarme officers on February 24, 2023, which led to the arrest of Stefan, alias Libanese, Suleimanu Mohamadu, alias Sule, and Nana Victor, alias Nani. These 4 have been transferred to the Douala military court for further investigations. Meanwhile, the search for the remaining 6 bandits are in process.
And now we take you to the west region of the country. The population of Babwantu in the west region decried the poor state of roads in that area. According to them, during the rainy season, farm to market roads are very inaccessible. Limited access to potable water is also a major concern raised by the population of Babwantu. Immaculate Fogwe is our lady on the beat.
Babwantu, a neighborhood in Banjo subdivision, Opankam division, west region of Cameroon, invaded by dust. The walls and ceilings of houses found along the road have not been spared by the dust. Pedestrians and motorcycle owners who often use the stretch say the dust is making life unbearable for them. The bad state of the road, coupled with the increase in the prices of farm inputs, has forced many youths to abandon agriculture. It is really difficult plying on this road. The dust is affecting my eyes, so I am forced to wear face masks and shades while driving. Due to the poor state of the road, transportation fare has increased. The population of Babwantu is suffering. The roads are inaccessible. The dust is too much, and that's why almost everybody is suffering from cough and catarrh. Another major challenge faced by the population is limited access to potable water. The available taps, which have not been flowing for months, has forced villagers to rely on doubtful sources. For several years, our taps have not been flowing. I am the main distributor of water in this locality. They give me their gallons and I go fetch water for them in other villages. The revenue gotten from this activity is what I have been using to feed my family. Though I make money from this activity, I really wish our taps can flow. It will benefit the entire village.
de remettre sur pied et voir comment construire encore les châteaux.
In the course of a meeting that grouped villagers and some elites of Babwandu, they discussed in some measures that could be taken to ease the development of the area.
And several immigrants have been under violent racist attacks in Tunisia. The African Union, civil society activists, the human rights commissions in Tunisia, politicians including Professor Maurice Kamto of Cameroon, and others have condemned the recent racist attacks on sub-Saharan African migrants in Tunisia. Innocent Azet tells us more, or he tells us that the brutal attacks have resulted to many migrants injured, scores arrested, detained and tortured. The Tunisian authorities have been ordered to respect rights of migrants and refrain from racist end speeches.
Sub-Saharan African migrants, including Cameroonians, have been victims of racist attacks in Tunisia for the past few days. Many of them have sustained injuries from brutality, others arrested and detained and tortured. Kai said, Tunisian president, during a National Security Council meeting on February 21, castigated what he qualified as the hordes of illegal migrants from sub-Saharan Africa, who, according to him, wants to change the demographic composition of his country. He reportedly associated migrants with crime and delinquency in Tunisia. This to the condemnation of the Tunisian Civil Society and Human Rights Commission, including associations of sub-Saharan migrants, who denounced racist hate speeches of the Tunisian president. Since majority of the attacked sub-Saharan African migrants are students, the Association of Students and Interns in Tunisia, in a release, stated that even students with legal documents were not spared from intimidations and aggressions. The association, in the same release, advised students not to go out even to class for their safety until authorities reassure them maximum protection. On behalf of the African Union, the chairperson, Musa Faki Mahamat, strongly condemns the shocking statements of the Tunisian authorities against fellow Africans, which go against the spirits of the organization and founding principles. The chairperson reminds all countries, in particular the member states of the AU, that they must honor their obligations under the international law and the relevant instruments of the AU, namely, to treat all migrants with dignity wherever they come from, refrain from any racist hate speech likely to harm people, and give priority to their security and their fundamental rights. Reacting to this happening, the Cameroon embassy in Tunisia calls on Cameroonians there to remain calm, responsible, and respect laws of the country. Also that compatriots can approach the chancellery for any information or procedure within the framework of a voluntary return. Cameroon's political figure, Professor Maurice Kamto of the CRM, on his Facebook page, expresses the party's compassion towards victimized Cameroonians, whatever their status, as well as their families. The CRM recalls that migrants are human beings whose rights to life must be respected and their protection ensured, especially since they are in a situation of great vulnerability. Kamto's party recalls the political commitment and morale of all states, including Tunisia, taken in various international instruments in recent years, including the Global Compact on Migration adopted in 2018. The CRM challenges the Cameroonian government to uphold its obligation of protecting lives of Cameroonians inside and across the borders by taking measures to save the lives of those compatriots still in Tunisia. Again, for the Cameroonian government to ask Tunisia in the diplomatic forms to shed light on the persistent allegations relating to death of Cameroonians in Tunisia. Lastly, the CRM demands for a communication from the government of Cameroon on these painful events which shock the human conscience and plunge many families into concern and disarray.
We now go over to Nigeria to meet our special envoy, Babila Jonathan, who has been covering the election in the Federal Republic, the presidential election. And as the wait for the results of the presidential election gets longer than expected, an expert in democracy, Dr. Christopher Fomunyo, says the outcome will have a great impact on the African continent if all goes well. But if the contrary happens, it will further slow down the democratic evolution of the continent. And the senior Senior Associate for Africa and Regional Director of the National Democratic Institute for International Affairs, Dr. Christopher Fomunyo, spoke to our Special Envoy, Babila Jonathan. Let's listen to him.
We do expect these elections to send a very strong message across this continent. First of all, because Nigeria is the giant of Africa, as we all say, because it's the highest populated country on the continent with 230 million inhabitants, with over 93 million registered voters, which is more than registered voters in all of West Africa combined, all of the other West African countries combined. Plus, it's got 175,000 polling sites. And so if Nigeria gets it right, the message is going to go out very strongly to other countries that if Nigeria, with this huge an electorate, with these major challenges in security and logistics, can get its elections right, there's no excuse for any other country not to get it right. And we know that in 2023, 2024, there are a lot of African countries that are lining up for national elections in Sierra Leone, in June, in Liberia, in Gabon, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and you roll over into 2024 with Senegal and other countries coming down the pipe. So there's a lot of interest in these elections, and I hope that the message that comes out of Nigeria will be a strong and positive one. Obviously, if Nigeria doesn't make it through, and if the elections don't go well, then that's going to give, an excuse to those who think or stigmatize our continent in saying that Africa is incapable of managing its democracy, Africa is incapable of strengthening its democracy, and African countries don't have a good track record in organizing credible elections. I am an optimist, and I know the capacity of this country. I have seen the improvements in the electoral framework that have taken place in Nigeria, the improvements in election administration, the very strong engagement of Nigerian civil society, which is very vibrant, which has done extensive work in monitoring the electoral process, monitoring hate speech, conducting voter education programs, women organizations, programs to include persons with disabilities in their work. And I'm confident that Nigeria will not disappoint us. But we also have to wait until all of the returns are in to be able to make a real pronouncement about how these elections were conducted.
Dr. Fomunyo Christopher is speaking to our Special Envoy Babila Jonathan. In Nigeria, and everything seems to be calm as Nigerians wait for who is going to succeed their former president, as at now Muhammadu Buhari. And one out of the 36 states of Nigeria have so far had officially declared final results of the presidential election, and analysts or some observers say it may take longer than expected for Nigerians to know who is going to succeed Muhammadu Buhari. It might take longer for them to know who is going to be their next president. Babila Jonathan is in Nigeria. He now tells us more from the Federal Republic.
He is still waiting for the results of the presidential election in the other 35 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria after the publication of results of the southwestern state of Ekiti yesterday, and the results published by the Independent National Electoral Commission gave winning to the ruling party candidate Tinubu, or better still Bola Tinubu, who is leading in that state. And the resumption of proclamation of results from the other states is expected to start in some few minutes from now. And of course, those results are being proclaimed progressively as they come into the National Collation Center in the country's capital, Abuja. Some of the Nigerians with whom we discussed are expressing concerns, worries, and of course they are concerned about the possibility of fraud, manipulation of election results in the course of the delay in the compilation, transfer, and proclamation of the results of the presidential election here in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Babila Jonathan. We are still expecting to get more updates from you in the course of this newscast. Time for us to inform our viewers who are, especially Nigerians who are in Cameroon and out of the country too, that Tinubu wins the Ogun state by a wide margin. The ruling party's candidate, Bola Tinubu, has won in southwestern Ogun State of Nigeria, and our staff man, Babila Jonathan, who is our special envoy to Nigeria, is online. Hello, Babila. What is the update from Nigeria, as the Nigerians are expected to have the results, the final results of the presidential election, to know who is going to be their next president?
Of the 2023 presidential election in the Federal Republic of Nigeria are now streaming in at the highest speed into the National Collation Center in the country's capital, Abuja. Main opposition candidate Atiku Abubakar has comfortably won the presidential election in his home state of Adamawa, according to provisional results published by state election officials. Abubakar got 417,611 votes. His close rival Bola Tinubu got 182,881. Labour Party candidate Peter Obi came third with a better than expected 105,648 votes. Nigeria's main opposition candidate Atiku Abubakar has also won the presidential election in Southern Akwa Ibom state, according to provisional results announced by election officials. Abubakar won with 214,012 votes. He was trailed by the ruling party Bola Tinubu, who got 160,620 votes. Labour Party candidate Peter Obi came third with 132,682 votes. And other election results continue streaming in from other parts of the country. The ruling party's candidate Bola Tinubu has equally won in southwestern Ogun State by a wide margin. Official results show that he got 341,554 votes. The main opposition candidate Atiku Abubakar got 123,831 votes. The Labour Party candidate Peter Obi got 85,829, and to another state third party candidate Peter Obi won in Lagos State, and this is the most populated city or state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was governed before by ruling party candidate Bola Tinubu, and now the control of the state has moved to the opposition, with Peter Obi winning the state of Lagos, and a landslide victory for Tinubu in Oyo stronghold. In his Oyo stronghold, Nigeria's ruling party candidate has won Oyo State in his southern stronghold by a landslide victory, as result indicates that he...
Thank you so much, Babila. Your sound was being perturbed there somehow by heavy winds, sir, in Abuja, where you find yourself at this moment. And we're just telling us a while ago that the results are streaming in from across Nigeria to Abuja, from where the final results would be proclaimed. Thank you so much. And as usual, you will continue to give us updates, I want to say minute by minute, on how the presidential election in Nigeria is unfolding. And viewers, we thank you so much for being with us. That was what we gathered for you this evening. For the news at 6 p.m., don't go away. As usual, the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Enjoy the rest of your evening in the company of our program. Bye for now.